activists now demand you buy their game for the most expensive way possible. And I am so sick of the AAA industry doing this, where they just shove slop into our art, into the atmosphere, and then get mad at us for not buying it. This is by Sunday Grand Studios. This guy has a very dry delivery, but he usually can land on a lot of his jokes. I really enjoy his content, but let's get right into it.
Thank you for joining me. Today I hope to address the games industry as well as gamers regarding a recent game launch and public conduct regarding the intentions of that game. It has been directly requested of me by people all across the games industry as well as gamers all around the world to represent their voices and feelings and help steer the industry away from hiring malpractice.
Don't ever think that I'm the guy to heighten your voices and feelings. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that does the weird sex jokes online. I am the loud, obnoxious chaos guy. I am here to have as much fun as possible with the little platform I have. I am not the guy you come to for all of the best views, the best points. I'm here to have fun. I like this kind of stuff, but don't ever think I am the champion of your thought process.
And self-serving corporate fixation and help guide the industry back toward creativity and integrity. Due to my position as a working professional in the industry, it is important I remain impartial as I listen to understand all perspectives regarding topics that affect the state of the industry. It is for this reason I do not single out, target, or name games from small or medium-sized development teams, as it is already challenging for that size of development studio to maintain profitability and bring positive attention to their products.
Well, and I think there's also a different standard that we set for the smaller end developers. Those smaller guys just trying to be hungry for their bone and suck a good boner. They're out there gonna make the game that they want to make, and I respect them for that. If you're out there with like a small indie team, you want to make a game that centers around your political viewpoints or your worldview. Nobody complains about that because you're an indie developer. That's what you do. If you want to go out and make something on your own and it's your own artistic thing, like you might have a certain fan base that you really don't want to buy that game or be a part of that game. It's not really that big of a deal because at the end of the day, your indie game is probably going to be anywhere from like $3 to $30, and that's not really the main industry. Because like the problem with these big industry games isn't the fact that they go in with the same mindset that an indie game would go in, right? But they want to charge like $70, and then they get mad and they have every single media outlet write articles about how gamers are these absolute like troglodyte monsters and racists and stuff because they didn't buy their game when they weren't trying to market it to a broader audience. That's the problem.
Today I will make a modest exception as we discuss Lost Records, Bloom and Rage from Don't Nod Entertainment. I make this exception firstly due to the gravity of the topic we need to discuss, and secondly, nobody is going to hear of this game or much less purchase it anyway. The situation regarding this title is made worse by the developer of the game, Don't Nod Entertainment, silencing people who do not praise Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. It is important I research and understand these games that I address, but I must apologize to Don't Nod Entertainment because when I was looking up their new game, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, I did nod off. So I may not have an entirely complete understanding of this puberty simulator made for children. This software title is designed entirely to rely on manipulative tactics to force players to feel obligated to purchase their game, whether it is through the superficial and incompetent.
Well, and I think if you're doing stuff like this too, where you're trying to manipulate the audience, I don't like that type of stuff. And I mean, this does seem like more of a double A. When I was talking about the stuff before, I was talking about like indie titles. And to be honest, this isn't in that crazy price range, and it's something that's just going to be kind of like a culture war punching bag is what I'm seeing kind of going on with it. It's I don't know, dude. I don't think that this is like that indie darling that I was talking about. Like the indie stuff usually is marketed as a certain audience, and I think even if you market it and you have like this idea that you don't want certain people playing your game or whatever, I still don't think you should censor that, because here's the thing: once you start censoring negative talking about your game, you're also going to ruin the aspect of people who are going to defend it. Which, the great thing as a developer, like let's say I made a game that was like, I hit all of the SJW talking points or the woke talking points out. I hate those terms, but I hit all those talking points that gets the anti-woke guys mad, right? Well, you are instantly going to then strengthen the audience that you originally wanted. So I don't understand why you would censor discontent from it, because you're just going to only embolden your audience as well.
Depiction of the 1990s, or leveraging gender and sexual identity in the form of its in-game characters. This is a software title manufactured by people who openly hate gamers and are setting out to manipulate marginalized people, like those who are not straight, into submitting to a self-centered and narrow worldview in which other people only have value if they echo the exact same political and ideological views. In response to the launch of Lost Records Bloom and Rage, a self-described entertainment lawyer focused on complex rights deals, film, and TV finance published a post on social media site masquerading as a professional platform where adults may network and meet, LinkedIn. In this post, this entertainment lawyer lectures consumers of the following points at length. People must purchase the game at full price, ideally pre-ordering and buying the deluxe version. People must play it. People must get other people to buy and play it in the most expensive way possible.
That's just such a fucking stupid way to do this, dude. Dude, buy our fucking game, but you can't buy it on a sale. Buy it full price or you're a fucking piece of shit. I'm gonna take my nutsack and scratch it across your nose. You get all the sludge and it never comes out.
This person reiterates you must buy these products because they focus on identity, supremacy, and politics that align.
I do think he needs to put the post up here, because right now you just have to take everything he's saying with a grain of salt, which I feel like this guy has been pretty straightforward with his content so far, but I need the post. I need to see the post. I need to see that clip in. Otherwise, I don't, like, it puts me in a position where I don't 100% know what you're talking about. I don't know if this LinkedIn thing is real. It's like when I hear, like, I've got it from reliable sources, I'm like, so you made it up and pulled it out of your fucking dick chute.
With the consumer, supposedly. Nowhere in this post is the concept of the quality of the product ever discussed in regards to a reason as to why a person should purchase a product. In fact, this post openly admits that reviews for the game are, to quote, not great. Yet, because the game focuses on politics and identity supremacy, people are required to purchase the game in the most expensive way possible and to force other people to also buy and play it. I will not name this person in my speech. I will not address him or her directly. Firstly, in my line of work, I deal directly with CEOs and owners of multi-million-dollar businesses. I do not punch down on children, nor do I waste my time engaging with people who live in a bubble of reality rejection and who refuse to listen when adults are speaking. Instead of addressing this person, I would like to communicate directly with my colleagues working in the games industry to point out this misbehavior and malpractice. It is not our job to tell people what to do. It is not our job to tell people how to spend their money, and it is definitely not our job to control the thoughts of our customers. It is well outside of our rights to weaponize people's sexual identities and insecurities against them, so we can manipulate them into purchasing products regardless of the quality, content, or intent of the product. Our job as writers, artists, programmers, testers, and engineers is to create something fun for people to do. And on a deeper level beyond that, it is our job to give people...
Well, and here's my problem, and I know he's talked about a lot here, and we got a whole, like, cabal of things going on with My biggest issue, and what will always be my biggest issue with this entire situation, is the fact that these developers will come out with a game that is only dedicated at a small audience, a very small cut of an audience, but then they will get mad that their game's not making money back. And they will then go to vilify everybody who doesn't want to deal with their sludge fest. Sorry, you're not going to get everybody, you're not going to hit these buying quotas in your head that these massive games are going to hit that have more of a broad appeal because you've ruined that broad appeal. And a lot of these people that you're trying to appeal to, they're going to go in after the more broad appealed game because it's going to be centered more about the fun. The fun is the priority of the game. Everything about the game is fun and this priority. They're not going to go after your weird little art game. They're just not. So you're going to end up screwing yourself to where you're going to have to make statements like everybody should buy this game full price or we're not going to make our fucking money back because you made some piss poor business decisions. Because at the end of the day, this is a business venture. That's what it is. It is a business venture first and foremost, and that's just like there's no other way to go about it. You know, if you're going in the industry to make money, you shouldn't be wanting to make political fucking propaganda pieces, because that's only gonna go to a small portion who 100% agree with you, and that's just dumb. That's bad business.
Something beautiful to believe in for the short time that we are here on this earth. Our industry does not need bullies or manipulators who brainwash and take control of consumers, taking advantage of people who are not straight, who already feel alone and rejected by society. Modern companies have been using superficial, forced diversity to manipulate and use marginalized people as human shields. They hire based on gender, race, and sexual identity, not competence or talent. One cannot be taught talent, nor can one conjure skill.
Well, and I think this is a big issue. I honestly do believe this is a big issue in the industry right now, where it's like we are pandering to a certain group. We're not going to hire certain groups because we want to only click these boxes, and that's wrong. That's wrong. You should hire on the best talent for the job. And then you like, oh, well, the game does bad, but you don't like it because we did these things. Well, yeah, we have that right. You have that right as a consumer to look at something and be like, this doesn't share my values, so why should I buy it? That has nothing to, like, you can get mad at it all you want, but that's not going to change the fact that people didn't buy your shit. I'm sorry.
Skill by reciting a cult incantation in their Twitter bio. As a result, our entertainment media is poor quality, and marginalized people become the subject of resentment and hatred. I've been listening to the wants and needs of as many people as I can in the games industry. Here is my assessment. Gamers want good games. Marginalized people want to feel like they are accepted and that they belong. It is actually not complicated to achieve this, because we already had that before these activists forced their way into entertainment media industries and started throwing tantrums. 20 years ago, we had good games, and marginalized people were not being treated as separate from the rest of the population. If we had already solved this problem 20 years ago, why is it such a prominent problem now? Those activists hijacking entertainment.
Well, because now they can lecture you. Now they can lecture you, and they have the media to hold their water. That's really what's going on. I mean, the real problem is you don't hate the media enough. The media wants to divide us. It wants to make everybody angry. It wants to make everything about a culture war. And instead of it just being like, the shit sucks. Like, I'm so sick of this idea that it's like, oh, well, we need to protect this because of this and this. No, dude, I don't give a fuck. I honestly do. You can't make me care enough. It's like when I see these people here that are like, oh, well, you should be mad because of this. And I'm like, I don't need to be mad because I don't care. And well, you should though, because these people got fired because their game flopped. I'm like, I don't, like, it has no effect on me. It has no effect on me as a consumer. Now, I can look at it and be like, yeah, they were a good studio. There were some really talented people. I hope they find a new place. But it's not my job to buy a game that they released that's shitty. And this isn't even on the woke thing. This is just in general. I shouldn't be, like, they like to make the consumer feel bad that they didn't buy the product enough. And that's not our job. It's the company's job, first and foremost, to one, make a product that is satisfying and is fun, right? Two, it's to market it so that people know about that product, so that we want to go buy that product because it's fun. Three, the product will then sell well because it's a good product, it was marketed well, and people know about it. If you can't handle those first two things, the third will not happen. And once that word of mouth thing never happens, you're fucked. And now they're focusing on the wrong thing. They think they can just drop a game out of nowhere with zero marketing, but as long as it hits the right talking points in the game, the media will hold its water and will fucking beat the entire gaming audience to make them feel bad. And then when a studio gets closed down, it's your fault. It's not the studio's fault when it should be blamed on the studio. At least the upper management. Now, I'm not saying blame every fucking dev, right? I'm not saying that every dev deserves to lose his job if he makes a bad game. But if you're an art director or a high up art director or a game director and your game's fucking trash, you should get fired. You didn't do your job right.
Media, pushing their corporate DEI scam, sure have done a great job making sure the world grows more hateful and resentful of marginalized groups while ruining the quality of our media. DEI has done an excellent job of making marginalized people feel like they don't belong with and will never be able to agree with everyone else who is different from them. There are people working in entertainment industries, especially our games industry, who are working in bad faith. Those activists have no care or concern for the damage they cause to our industry. They care nothing of the products that they bully consumers into buying. They care about massaging their precious insecurities by forcing their feeble beliefs onto others in a desperate, vain attempt to gain validation. Unfortunately, these activists are here now. They are causing damage and are making it difficult for real developers with actual talent and skill to do their jobs. To my fellow developers, I must ask you, hang in there, stay strong, and do your best. Even if things may feel hopeless, even if things feel like they'll never get better, we are all in this together. The gamers out there understand us. They will stand by our side. As long as we stay strong, stand for what we believe in, and create the best games we possibly can. To my fellow gamers, I must request a favor of you. I know this may be difficult, and I understand entirely if you are unable to do this for me. You must make your voice heard. Speak out against the activists who are attempting to hijack your...
Well, and I think so. There's something here. It's like we already have this where people are speaking out, but I just think the main problem will always boil down to we need to stop protecting every single developer, even if if they release a game that's dog shit, they should be called out. Like, they should be called out. I mean, I see it all the time where I like Grums. Grums is fucking insufferable because Grums is always just out here talking shit about developers when he's a fucking failed developer. He was a fucking massive failure. Like, everything he says should be taken with a grain of salt. Same with David Jaffe, who's on the other end of the spectrum, who's always touting for everything needs to be progressive. He's a fucking failure. And I just don't see where a lot of this rhetoric can be just as hurtful as anything. I think the most important thing is you should just vote with your wallet. And at a certain point, you will start to see that a lot of these games will die because they're not fun and they don't have a big appeal. And now that we're getting to the point where a lot of these companies aren't even gonna push this shit because they're sick of fucking losing money. You can only lose money for so long before it becomes a big problem, and it's a problem that needs to be solved. I mean, just look at Ubisoft. Ubisoft is Duns, and it's not just because Ubisoft is pushing woke shit. I mean, it's also because Ubisoft just hasn't made a game worth buying in a very long time. So why the fuck would I buy their games when I know that it's either the same slop I've already seen or it's just a bad, broken, microtransaction-filled game? When I see Ubisoft game, I'm not thinking about the cultural repercussions and the annoying culture war shit. I'm thinking that it's a shitty Ubisoft game and I'm not going to buy it because it's probably going to be broken on launch.
Video game industry. But please be careful for friendly fire. There are gamers out there who may not be straight, who may be trans, who may not know or accept exactly what they are yet. Those people are not your enemies. Women are not our enemies. People with different skin colors are not our enemies. They are our fellow gamers. They are our people. This favor I ask of you may feel too difficult. I ask of you, no matter how much those people lash out, no matter how much they attack and insult us, no matter how much name-calling and blocking they do, I ask that you stay calm and respectful. No doubt in this video, in this comment section, you will see countless negative comments of people lashing out. I ask that instead of fighting back with insults, you reply respectfully and you simply say, I have heard you, and I accept your perspective. Thank you for making your voice heard.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I wish more people would do that. To be honest, I wish more people were a little more respectful. Now, you might think that's crazy coming from me because I like just making fun of people online, but at the same time, I just see so many people that are just so entrenched in their mindset that they refuse. It's almost like they're gatekeeping their opinion, and they're not willing to understand an entire perspective. Now, I usually try to go in, and even when I hear a game's woke, I'm like, oh, okay, well, why? And what's the parameters making it that way? And a lot of times it's like, well, there's going to be those people like, well, it's got a female protagonist. And I'm like, well, you're fucking retarded. That's just a dumb perspective. I'm going to play the game, and then I'm going to make my own opinion. And I think there needs to be more of that. Like, okay, well, if a game looks fun, you should buy it on the aspect that it looks fun to you. You shouldn't be worried about what the culture war thinks about it first. You should think, do I want to play this game because it looks fun? Like, if of course, if like the game's main director comes out and says that if you have this perspective on the world, you should never touch my game, then don't touch it because they've literally told you not to play it. I understand that parameter of what's going on, but at the same time, a lot of these are just like, oh, I'm not gonna play Indiana Jones because one of the developers look gay. I'm like, that's just a fucking gay mindset to have, bud. That's like some 2000s gay. Now, I'm not talking about homosexual. No. I'm talking about fucking retarded. Like, you're being real gay about this shit, bro. And I just don't like that. It's like Indiana Jones ended up being fucking based, and now you have people that are fucking whining because, or that were fucking upset because they weren't proven right. I would rather be proven wrong. I would rather be proven wrong with almost any of these indications of something looking like it's going to be trash. I would rather them pull one underneath and then have your fucking rise from the ashes moment. Like, even like Assassin's Creed Shadows. I want the game to be good. Now, I think a lot of the shit they've done to their image and all the shit that's happened up until this point, I think looks really fucking bad. But I would rather the game come out and be really good and really fun and just like a good game. I would rather it be a good game. But what I'm guessing is it's going to come out and be midder to midderson, and then what's going to keep the game relevant is the fucking race bullshit that's going to pop up because of it. That's going to be the real end all be all, because let's be honest, Assassin's Creed hasn't made anything that's been worth a shit in fucking like 10 years. So if we're going to be completely honest, the game's probably going to be mid and suck, and the only thing that keeps it relevant is the culture war.
We have reached a boiling point in our culture where the leaders of online movements are forcing people to believe that they must be segregated based on their sexual identity and politics. This online cult is brainwashing people into behaving like children and tearing down anyone who does not blindly agree with and echo all of their own beliefs. Look at where that has gotten us.
Again, dude, I 100% agree with this. I've said this when I've covered some of like the online figures that have like a political skew in one direction, where I say that you should criticize everyone you should criticize. You should constantly take everything you hear with a grain of salt. I did it in this video. I think this guy is speaking facts, but at the same time, I said that because he didn't put that screenshot on screen, we can't take everything he says for actual verbatim, because I don't have the screenshot proving the evidence. I think that everybody should take everything with a grain of salt. They should do all their own research. I think that if you are listening to somebody, even though they might be really popular, you should be willing to criticize them at any moment. You should be willing, even if you're a fan, to look at it and be like, I don't really agree with that. And I don't think that is true. Let me look it up. And I think that as a creator as well, you should be willing to listen to some of that, like, as long as it's logical. I'm not saying like the spurgs that are down in your comment section. I think that you should be willing to look at every perspective as a creator as well. I mean, even if you are vehemently one-sided, you should still be willing to listen and understand why this one side thinks that way, right? Why do the fucking retards over here think this way, and why do the fucking retards over here think this way? Make your own perspective and figure out where you sit, because you can be your own like fucking special butterfly retard at that point. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Continue down this path, there will only be more hatred, more resentment, and further segregation for marginalized people, and more sanctioned racism and sexism toward people who just want good quality video games and entertainment made by people who actually know what they are doing and who actually care. I hope you understand I am here today to discuss these topics with you, not because I derive joy from this or because I am interested in attention. Every time I publish these industry-level speeches, more people in the games industry turn towards me as an enemy and set out to tear me down however they can. I understand this, and it is a price that I have accepted I must pay to do what is right. and to do what has been asked of me by thousands of people all around the world. If there is anything you take away from today's speech, it is this: you are not obligated to purchase or support anything. No matter what anyone says, however they bully or manipulate.
This is what I've said from the beginning of this video. You're gonna see a game that is absolute trash. It's gonna be like Immortals of Avion, and you're gonna see every single media article write about it because EA's got all of these fuckers in their back pocket, and you're gonna see how you're the problem. How this. Don't listen to any of that bullshit. Make your own opinions, but don't go out here just fucking saying any game that has like a woman or a person of color in the fucking look at this black chick they put in the game. The game's fucking woke. That's just retarded, dude. It's like, I think that you should make your own perspective and look at it and be like, yeah, dude, the Immortals of Avion's big twist being racism was fucking dumb. It was just dumb and a waste of time. And then to listen to every, like, fucking article and look at every single thing, talk about how we're the villains and how the game was actually this peak, like, godsend of, like, narrative beauty, and it's not that. And talk about how all these other excuses are why it's failed and not the fact that they made a bad game. You should be able to call that shit out. I think calling the industry out is very important, but turning into somebody like Andy Pants Gaming is just not the way to go.
No matter how much they use your sexual identity against you, no matter how much they try to indoctrinate you into their cult and convince you that anyone who is different from you is an enemy, they are wrong. You are just fine the way you are. You do not need to purchase a product just because someone says it was made for gay or trans or any other way these bullies try to manipulate people. To my fellow gamers, thank you for listening to me and for being respectful to your fellow human beings, even if it is difficult and you must swallow your pride. Even if other people are different, even if they have disagreeable attitudes and behavior sometimes. For me personally, due to my position and professional placement in the games industry, I am unable to directly engage with these activists who are ruining the industry. There is a limit to what I can say about these topics. But to my fellow gamers, and especially you content creators out there, you certainly are free to say whatever you want. Vote with your wallet, speak your mind, and make your voice heard regarding these games and studios so that we may all work together to humbly and respectfully tear these activists a new asshole. Thank you for listening. Gamers first.
So I did want to kind of look up like what this guy does, because he always talks about being in game development. Let's not do Reddit because Reddit is like, here we go. I know he's developing a game under construction. It looks like I don't really know what they've developed. So Sunrise Studios IGM. Here we go. Let's see what so they got Shiver Down Falls, Looks like they've developed quite a few games, to be honest. I don't know, Silver Falls Gaiden? What the fuck is this? I don't know. Looks like they have a few games in development right now. I don't know if any of them are any good or anything. I see a lot of these indie developers that are like, I'm somebody, I matter, but I don't really think that he's like the biggest in the game industry. I think that I do agree with a lot of his perspective. I think that I think that it is an important message to not let game industry media, don't let game industry, like some of these big guys in the thing, tell you that you should buy this game because it's the right thing to do. It is never like, I don't care if it's like, oh, well, this guy's conservative, you should buy this game if you believe in anti-woke sentiment. Don't buy that guy's game then. You don't have to buy anybody's fucking game, and don't let them guilt you into buying any of this shit. Same thing with like, oh, well, you're gay, so you should have to buy this game. Buy it at full price. Own the chuds or own the libs. Don't listen to those fucking guys, because a lot of times the game fucking sucks. I mean, what we were talking about here, what was the game? It was called Lost Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Let's look up the actual trailer here. Let's see if there's a review. Bloom and Rage. Let's see what we got going here. Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Is there anybody who's not from IGN? I Dream of Indie Games review.
With AI, if you can think it, you can make it. But the same goes for cybercriminals.
What? I don't really like Game Bolt. Don't nod. I don't not gonna trust her perspective. We'll just go to. Let's go to the 3-minute review.
Lost Records Bloom and Rage is a narrative adventure from the creators of Life is Strange. It follows Swan, a quiet teenager in 1995, who finds an unexpected group of friends and her older self in 2022, reconnecting with those same friends after years apart. The game focuses on nostalgia, friendship, and a mystery that unfolds across 2 timelines. While it builds strong characters and an engaging small-town setting, its slow pacing and uneven storytelling hold it back.
Well, this is kind of where I saw this going, because this is a problem of most of these games that have like political. They focus on the political fucking. I don't know. What is it called? Fucking. They focus on their political narratives more than the actual narrative themselves. They're trying to be fucking. How cool we are. Look how fucking progressive we are. Look at the message. And you see this with like some of these conservative games too, that where they only focus on this one point and they don't focus on the actual crafting of a narrative. So the actual story becomes to be an absolute clusterfuck mess instead of focusing, like in a game like this is 100% story based. So you live and die by the story. So the fact that they're focusing more on the identity politics than the actual creating a grand narrative is a problem. And I'm only 31 seconds in and I can see that problem.
Swan is a shy teenager who loves movies but doesn't have close friends. That changes when she meets Autumn, Nora, and Kat, 3 girls who stand up for her when she's being bullied. They form an instant bond, playing music together and making the most of their final summer before Swan moves away. The 1995 storyline is the strongest part of the game, capturing the feeling of teenage friendships, late-night adventures, and the kind of moments that feel like they'll last forever. The game shifts between this past and 2022, where Swan and her old friends reunite after receiving a mysterious package. They once made a pact to never see each other again, but none of them can remember why. As they reminisce, the mystery lingers in the background, but the present-day scenes lack the urgency needed to keep things moving. Instead of actively investigating, the characters mostly drink, play pool, and talk around the issue. One of the best parts of the game is how it handles nostalgia. Velvet Cove feels lived in, full of details that make the town and its characters feel real. Instead of traditional collectibles, Swan uses her camcorder to capture moments in time, which makes exploring feel more personal. The camera.
This definitely isn't a game for me, and it's not even because of like any of that shit. I just don't like boring ass games like this. This is fucking Snorville to me. I need something. I need action. I need fun. If I wanted to watch a movie, I'll fucking watch a movie. I don't do this shit.
Also serves as a flashlight and has some motion controls on PlayStation 5, making it one of the game's most interesting mechanics. The biggest issue is pacing. The game takes too long to establish its stakes, and the supernatural elements remain vague. The mystery is teased throughout, but there aren't enough clues to keep players engaged. Dialogue choices exist, but they don't feel meaningful, and by the time the first half ends, the story hasn't answered enough questions.
Well, and here's another problem, and I've noticed this in RPGs, where they're too scared to actually put meaningful dialogue choices in, because they've crafted the points that they want to get across to your thick fucking skull, so they're going to hit you with those points, and if you have dialogue options to avoid them, then their bullshit doesn't get put into the main forefront. And that's the problem, where it ruins your the appeal to these games are getting the different narratives, right? To go through and get these broad branching narratives because it's not a movie. But the problem is they want to be making a movie, and it sucks that they're making a game, so they're not going to put anything in that's actual meaningful.
To justify the slow build-up. Lost Records Bloom and Rage is at its best when focusing on teenage friendships and the emotions tied to growing up. The 1995 sections are engaging.
I mean that's a Gigabyte thing, but I don't really see anything that. I mean, it looks cringe as fuck. It looks like it's terrible. It's not my type of game. It's something that I'm going to avoid. But so far, the only people who have talked about it are the mainstream guys, which I don't know. Good, but 11 minutes. I don't know. It just don't look like it's for me, guys. I definitely see all the fucking canaries in the coal mine that make me not want to play this game. It just looks fucking like it's going to be annoying dialogue. It's going to be preachy. Everything about it looks like, just look how cringe this fucking thing looks. It looks cringe, dude. The whole shit looks wildly fucking annoying and shitty, and I don't want to be. I'm not gonna waste my money on that shit, right? But I'm not gonna go out here and talk about how it's the worst thing ever and how it's destroying the industry. And I think that the fucking one of the main guys going on LinkedIn and talking about how you need to buy it at full price to own the chuds is fucking retarded. But at the same time, this is what you do. This is what you do. Yeah, you say the game's not for me. You don't buy the game, and you give your honest opinion of like why you're not going to buy the game. Exactly what I did. This type of genre does not appeal to me. On top of that, there's nothing interesting enough there to make me go through this fucking game. I watched that 3 minutes. Nothing looked appealing even in the slightest to me. It looked like nostalgia baiting, fucking Twitterverse bullshit. And I'm not about that, dude. I'm not about jumping into that little fucking hellhole. That's all I got for you guys today. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Have you played Lost Records, Bloom and Rage? Is it worth it? Is it trash? I want to know. I'm actually curious. It could be fucking AIDS on toast, but who am I to say? Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you later.